are both absent. Michael Fricke is absent. Christopher Gill is absent. I have 16 present. A majority is 8. 2/3 is 11.
We also.
Sorry, you're right.
I just messaged Christina too. So
I also have
messaged Ricky.
Madam Chair, 2 folks at the door, Chrissy Wickers and Colin.
Chrissy can observe via.
Should we admit either, both to the WebEx?
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay.
And who's just joined us by phone? Calling user 5.
This is Christina. Sorry about that.
Perfect. Okay, so 17 present, majority is 9, 2/3 is 11.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to disclose any conflicts of interest? Hearing none, I will move to approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Pettigrew.
I noticed we had discussed well prior to the agenda writing that I intend to make a motion today. Remember the conversation?
If you would like to make a motion, go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering, do we want to add it to the agenda or just slot it under new business at this point? Just looking for the guidance of the chair.
We can slot it under new business.
Fair, thank you. I move the adoption of the agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Point of information, Mr. Strela.
Dr. Frankie says he is on. He did respond to aye. He was marked as absence, so
Thank you.
please correct the record. Thank you.
Thank you. We've now got 18 here.
$18 present, majority is 10, 2/3 is 12.
Got it.
Mike, Ricky, can you hear me?
Yes, Mike, we can hear you now. Thank you.
I plan to make a couple remarks, but because we are running late, I'm going to keep it really brief. We've had a lot of things go on in this last week, and as libertarians, we all reject the use of force to achieve political and social ends. I would just ask you all now to reaffirm out loud your commitment to the basic principle of the Libertarian Party. That I hereby certify that I am opposed to the initiation of force or violence to achieve political or social goals. Yep.
I do.
I do.
Aye.
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 Thank you all. Thank you all. If you cannot certify that, this is not the group for you, and you should probably go. So.
You should probably.
Thank you. I'm moving on to approval of the minutes of the prior meeting.
I move to approve the minutes for the prior meeting.
It's been a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? There's a second made. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Thank you. The business conducted between meetings, I think the only thing we did was to set the date and time for the special convention, which we just had. The next thing on the agenda was there anything to add to that between meetings? Okay. Report from the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. If anyone has missed it, we approved 2 amendments. One to the Constitution, Article 6, and one to the bylaws with regard to affiliates. That information can be found will be found on the web or on
Publications.lpo.org.
publications.lpo.org. Also, there's probably a video
Link
of
to
it available on our YouTube channel if you want to see how that went down. I don't know if this is actually going to have any need, but is there a report from the audit committee? Mr. Lloyd?
There is no report from the audit committee at this time because the audit committee has not been fully staffed. We are looking for one more volunteer from the central committee for our audit committee. If you are interested, please contact me, joe.lloyd@lpo.org.
Excellent.
I have a point of information.
Ms. Joseph?
I guess that's not the correct term, but does it have to be a CENTCOM member to be in the committee?
Does it have to be a CENTCOM member to be in the committee? I don't believe it does. Just a member,
Party member.
party member, somebody good, preferably with a little
This
bit
is
of
Mike
experience.
Fricky, I'll do it.
All right, thank you for that. That is exactly
Thank
the
you,
kind of
sir.
report I needed. Our next item is election to fill vacant central committee seats. We've had 3 people that were interested.
See if they showed.
I would just note that from the agenda, Jacob Brown is from District 13, not 16, for your records if you're keeping track.
None of them are present.
None of these people are present at today's meeting.
Madam Chair.
Oh, hold on one second, Dustin.
Sure thing.
Hear that. The WebEx.
You hear people on the WebEx.
I can't hear people on the WebEx. Dustin just spoke. You can't hear him on the speaker.
He's talking.
Point of information.
Justin, go ahead and try to talk, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You're fine.
Thank you.
Yes, I can.
He had himself-
Mr. Strelo.
Regarding the attendance of these 3 potential members, were they given a link to join?
Yes.
Okay.
They were.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Nana.
I have a motion to make then, seeing how none of them are here. I would like to motion to amend the agenda and place this as the last agenda item, well, second to last agenda item before adjournment.
Seconded.
Second.
So move this to.
Or, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Second to last agenda item before setting the date for the next meeting. But
Yeah.
So move
That's what I-
Second.
section 9 to.
Motion is well received and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Moving on to old business. The job boards postings. Do we have any information on that? Who's taking care of it?
I
What's
am.
being done?
So as of right now, all vacant central committee seats have been posted. We've also posted vacancies to the standard central committee committees. Currently, the biggest one is the newly created during the last convention, Convention Oversight Committee for the 2022 convention. Those jobs are posted. The applicants that we got for the CENTCOM vacancies are the 3 that were put on the agenda today. And they were provided with the login information as well as an agenda. They provided us a short resume, which was posted to the CENTCOM board earlier in December.
Thank you. Is there any other old business? No. Okay, we're now moving to new business. Mr. Pettigrew.
Madam Chair, I have a motion which I have placed in the central committee folder of drive.lpo.org for the secretary's convenience and for the convenience of the committee so it can be posted to the screen.
Sorry, Jim.
Yep.
Should pass off the IT director role.
Or you could just, start sharing stuff.
Oh.
I need an assistant secretary.
Well, I gave no notice. My apologies.
It's no problem. Only takes.
I've been
one.
scrambling to put this out there before we got to this item.
I believe you're referring to pedigree motion 20200109 meeting.docx, yes?
Yeah, I made it convenient, didn't I?
Yes.
Wrong year though, 2020?
Oh, doggone it. Yes, you're correct. It is should be 2021. I withdraw my, no, I kid.
Sorry for the implicit call out, Mr. Pettigrew.
Hey, that's okay. Hey, look. I deserve it today. It's okay.
Madam Chair, I have the text. Would you like Mr. Pettigrew to read it or myself? I'm sure you're reading it right now.
I'm reading it. I'll read it unless no one wants me to. Are you sick of my voice?
That's fine, go ahead.
Whereas the goals of the Libertarian Party of Ohio, hereafter the party, are, per our Constitution, as follows: to nominate, endorse, support, and elect candidates. And whereas the party has lost the ability to nominate and elect candidates due to its presidential candidate's failure to obtain the requisite 3% of the statewide presidential vote needed to retain party ballot access. And whereas it is now necessary, per ORC 3517.01, to file with the Secretary of State a party formation petition that meets all of the following requirements if we are to accomplish our stated goals. The petition is signed by qualified electors, equal in number to at least 1% of the total vote for governor or nominees for presidential electors at the most recent election for such office. 2, the petition is signed by not fewer than 500 qualified electors from each of at least a minimum of 1/2 of the congressional districts in this state. If an odd number of congressional districts exist in the state, the number of districts that shall result from dividing the number of congressional districts by 2 shall be rounded up to the next whole number. 3, the petition declares that petitioners' intention of organizing a political party, the name of which shall be stated in the declaration, and of participating in the succeeding general election held in even-numbered years that occur more than 125 days after the date of filing. Fourth, the petition designates a committee of not less than 3 nor more than 5 individuals of the petitioners who shall represent the petitioners in all matters relating to the petition. Notice of all matters or proceedings pertaining to the petition may be served on the committee or any of them, either personally or by registered mail, or by leaving such notice at the usual place of residence of each of them. Therefore be it resolved that the Central Committee directs the party's executive committee nominate a committee per item 4 above to be completed prior to 1 February 2021, and be it further resolved that the party shall devote the required resources and efforts to successfully submitting a valid and sufficient party formation petition in time for the 2022 elections. We're now open for discussion. Or is it seconded? Is this seconded?
Second.
I'll second.
Someone seconded it.
We're open for discussion. Would anyone like to be recognized?
Madam President, may I speak first to my motion?
Mr. Pettigrew.
So first of all, Madam President, thank you for the reading, and my apologies for making you read that section of the ORC. That wasn't my writing. The 1 through 4 are the requirements as brought out of the ORC. This committee is responsible for the high-level direction of the party, our policies, our procedures, and oversight of the executive committee. It is also beyond the policies and procedures, as I stated, it is responsible for the overall direction of the party. And we're now at a point where we need to decide what we are going to do during the next 2-year period. In past, when we have attempted to do our petitioning efforts, we have delayed the start of that, and it has set us behind the 8 ball. And this motion is simply an effort to avoid getting behind the 8 ball, number one. Number two, in making this motion, if we were to approve it prior to the election of the executive committee, it also notifies the people who are going to be on the executive committee as far as the expectations of their oversight committee, i.e., us, the Central Committee. So I think it's number one imperative that if we wish to go this route, there are some that do not wish to go this route. I recognize, but if we do wish to go this route, that we dedicate ourselves to that effort, that we make sure that we put forth the required effort, whether that and that can take a number of different ways. Including, as was stated in the previous convention, the formation of county and local area affiliates in order to assist with the gathering of petitions. But I don't think that it's out of place for the committee, for the Central Committee, to tell the Executive Committee, this is what we wish you to do during this next term. And we are going to back you to make sure that we give you the required resources and effort in order to do so. That is the thrust of and the purpose behind this motion. I did submit a very similar motion, only slightly altered for this committee. I submitted it as the at-large member from the previous executive committee. It was not taken up. So I just want to provide that direction to the incoming executive committee. Thank you, Madam President.
You got Nana
Thank
and
you.
Zweber with hands.
I have Mr. Zweber and Mr. Nana. So Mr. Zweber first.
Thank you. So I believe it. Certainly going to say that a direction to the executive committee would be appropriate. So I'm going to get to the content of the direction. So there are two topics here. There was one topic to appoint the committee, the 5 folks or 3 to 5 folks. And then there's the one I'm much more concerned about, which is the direction on the allocation of resources, that we are kind of jumping the regular resource allocation budgeting process by this direction. So as such, I would like to make a motion to strike the last clause of the resolution and be it further resolved through the end of the page.
Yes.
If I understand his amendment correctly, I'm going to second it. He's striking just the last clause that says we have to devote all required resources, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Nana. It's been moved and seconded to strike the last clause of this motion. Mr. Glasgow is rising to speak.
I would like to rise in favor of this motion to strike the that second portion, and I wouldn't necessarily mind the second portion if it had been amended to be like the Central Committee directs the party's executive committee to devote as required and available. But this goes back to the separation of powers within our own committees. Article 5, Section 1 tells us that the Central Committee confers all powers except those enumerated in Article 4, Section 3. And telling the executive committee how to budget their funds isn't one of those powers. And that's really what this comes down to. Is it's definitely a separation of powers issue here for me. If it was more of a direction of, hey, please do this, we'd like you to do this, kind of a guiding thing as the first section was, I would be on favor. But because it's not, I'm going to rise in favor of this motion.
Any hands raised?
Mr. Nana may still, and we also have a call-in user to admit. So, hello, who just joined us by phone? Call-in user 6 who just joined by phone.
Call-in user 6. Are you with us?
I was 4 before. Am I still calling you 4?
Whoever just joined, are you with us?
All right, whomever was just attempted to join by phone, we cannot hear you. You may attempt to reconnect, but we'll disconnect the call at this point. Mr. Nana's hand is-
Mr. Nana,
and
do
then
you wish to
Pettigrew.
speak?
Yeah, I was originally going to make the exact same amendment, but I'll just speak in favor. So we had an executive committee meeting where we went into executive session about this towards the end of last term. I can't get into super specifics because of that, but basically the overwhelming majority of the XCOM, made the decision that it would basically bankrupt us to run this drive with the resources it requires. So that's why I favor striking the last sentence so that we can devote resources to it as we see fit, rather than all of the resources required, which would be literally everything we have.
Pettigrew.
Mr. Pettigrew,
Madam Chair, thank you. I appreciate the concerns of my fellow committee members. I would be fine with the change as talked about by Mr. Glasgow. I believe it was Mr. Glasgow. If it wasn't, please, I apologize. But without devoting the required resources and effort, why are we doing it? If we don't intend to do a sufficient party formation petition, let's state our goals and move forward with those. But we have to decide as a committee, what are we going to do over the next few years? And it is appropriate for this committee to set the goals for the executive committee and say, here's what we want you to do. And if we're going to do it, if we make the decision to do it, we have to, this is a resolution to devote the required resources. If that's everything we have, then we better be fundraising. If we don't have the ability to raise the manpower, we better be raising some county affiliates. It's not necessarily saying we have to bankrupt ourselves. We could also say the prudent required resources, or as prudent. But to strike this takes the teeth out of it. And I think if we're going to do it, we have to go all the way. We don't have a choice. We may have other avenues to explore before we wish to do this. So we may not want to do this before the gubernatorial. Now's the time to talk about it before we elect our executive committee, because these are the people that are going to take us to whatever our ends may be. Thank you.
Mr. Gill is next.
Speaking to that a bit, to me it ties our hands less. Speaking for Franklin County, we've got our own plans for how we want to approach it, and if the holdup is that the thing is if the state wants to do something different and money is the issue, I don't want that being the thing that stops us from having an ability to move forward in petitioning. So I understand the sentiment that why bother, but it's one of those we at the county level need the state to say, okay, this is fine, we're going forward with petitioning, even if the state's not putting money behind it, and let the affiliates take a stab at it.
Yeah. Mr. Strillo,
Would it be appropriate to speak to the entire resolution at this time?
we're just talking about the motion to strike.
Okay, I'll yield.
Would anyone else like to be heard regarding the motion to strike the last clause of the motion, the Pettigrew motion?
I'd rather amend than strike.
Ms. Gilson.
Could I ask Mr. Pettigrew what makes him think that the executive committee, whether the current one or the one coming in, would give anything less than 150% to make sure we continue as a party?
It's not about whether
Mr. Pettigrew respond or no?
He's talking, but we can only hear him.
Oh.
We can't hear him speaking.
Hang on,
Hello?
everybody.
That's on me. My apologies.
I was smashing back. I thought you said.
Okay, try it now.
I did a dumb thing.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay,
Sibilant.
thank you,
Sibilant.
yes, yeah, go ahead.
It's not a matter of whether or not we go at 100% on this. It's a matter of the route. There are multiple routes for us to take. It may be the wish of this body, for example, to challenge the law and to take a lawsuit route, or to try a different tack to do a constitutional amendment has also been talked about. I'm okay with any of those. I'm not saying this to necessarily strike those. This is the way that I see us as I see as a way forward, and that's why I wrote it this way. I think that without that final line, what the executive committee were, I don't know who's going to be voted to the executive committee, but what I'm saying here is, here's the path that the central committee wants you to take, and devote everything you have to it, or don't do it. And again, there's a number of ways to justify different paths to it. It doesn't necessarily all have to be financial.
Does anyone else wish to be heard?
Madam Chair, I would like to be recognized. I'd like to speak in favor of Mr. Pettigrew's clause here as written and against the striking of it. I think it's very important for the state party to take the necessary actions to regain ballot access, since it is a state party requirement. I know we have more concentration on affiliates at this time. However, it is a state document. It's a state filing. So by delegating this to the individual affiliates doesn't make any sense in this case, and I will let my voice be heard there.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Anyone else seek to be recognized?
No.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Jim Barber. I would support changing the word required to prudent, as Mr. Pettigrew suggested.
Does that require a motion?
You couldn't do it on this because the motion to strike strikes it. You can't put it back on the same amendment. You have to resolve it.
That could come later. The question has been called.
Second.
All in favor of calling the question?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll say nay.
All opposed say nay? Okay, we are going to have a vote. This is a vote on the motion to strike the last clause of the Pettigrew motion. A yes vote is to strike it. A no vote means leave it the way it is. Okay? Anyone need clarification?
No.
Madam Chair, just so that everyone knows, saying no to this does not mean you cannot amend later, correct?
That's correct. Okay. On the motion to strike, are we ready for a roll call, please?
Yes.
Point of order, do we need to do a roll call, or can we do a simple up or down vote?
That's up to you.
Because of the nature of the remote, it is very difficult for me to know, to hear everyone. It's easier for me.
Okay. All right. Jessica Pettigrew.
No to striking.
Scott Pettigrew.
No.
Tricia Sprankle.
No.
Christina Holloway.
No.
Don Kissick.
Yes.
I'm going to pass. Jay Steinmetz.
Pass. No vote.
No vote.
Yep.
Ms. Gilson.
Yes.
Mr. Barber.
No.
Mr. Strelo.
Present.
Mr. Zwieber.
Yes to strike.
Ms. Comstock.
Yes.
Mr. Nana.
Yes.
Mr. Fricky, Mr. Fricky,
No. No.
thank you. Mr. Rockwell,
No.
Mr. Lloyd,
No.
Ms. Flower,
No.
Mr. Gill,
Yes.
Mr. Sonnenschein,
No.
and hold on. I will vote yes. I have 7 yes, 11 no, and 1 abstention.
The motion to strike fails. We now return to the discussion of the main motion submitted by Mr. Mr. Strelo.
I would like to speak in opposition to this motion at this time. As Mr. Pettigrew has said, there are several avenues we could choose to take it. And since the Central Committee has not had discussion on which avenue or avenues to take, since we are just now changing our rules to allow us to spin up more affiliates, to try to gain more volunteers, I don't think setting this as the avenue to take at this time is appropriate.
Okay. Mr. Nana.
For the reasons I mentioned before, I think this locks us into a plan that may or may not be the best course of action in the future. You know, things change almost by the day. So I would urge a no vote on this.
Any other hands raised?
I would like to speak.
Comstock.
Ms. Comstock.
Ms. Comstock.
Yes. I also agree with Jason and Dustin. I do not am not in favor of this at this time.
Mr. Pettigrew.
I just wish to point out that at this point, any plan that we go forward with, if we are to fulfill our goals to nominate, endorse, support, and elect candidates, and I'm making a presumption that it's under the libertarian label, requires that we file a party formation petition and file sufficient petitions in order to accomplish that. The sub goals may be different, but if we are to reattain our party access to the ballot, we have to undergo this. The sooner we start it, the better. Thank you.
Point of inquiry. To those who are familiar with the process, is there a time limitation to achieve the petition signatures before we have to throw them away and start over?
No.
125 days before the next election.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about if we start
No.
now and we don't achieve by a certain time, we have to throw them out and start over. By the following deadline.
No,
There is no, but
there is no deadline to
however, about every 12 months, a good portion of those people are going to move.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
just-
the problem is like we can make this petition drive last for 10 years if we wanted to. The only thing that changes is the signature amount changes every 4 years, and
2 years.
2 years. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different petition, and petitions go bad.
Okay, Mr. Glasgow, you wish to speak.
Yes, I'd make to amend the motion at hand. I'd like to amend the last section of the motion so that it would read and be it further resolved that the Central Committee directs the party's executive committee to devote the available resources and effort to successfully submitting a valid and sufficient party formation petition.
Pettigrew will second.
Strike required.
Directs the party's executive committee to devote the available resources and effort to successfully submitting.
So is that your entire phrasing for that final clause?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, that'd be.
Madam Chair, note that this section of new business had a 3-minute time limit. We're way over that.
We sure
Can
are.
I move to extend for another 5 minutes?
Sure.
Yes.
An additional 5 minutes.
An additional 5 minutes.
And then I would like
You've
to
exceeded this.
speak to my motion.
Right. Yeah, those were estimates, those are not hard limits, okay? We have a motion and a second to amend the present motion to read as is listed now on the screen. I hope everyone can see it.
Patrick?
Do it. I would like
Patrick?
to speak as well. Yes.
Just a suggestion as a friendly amendment at this point before we get into this, the prudent and available resources.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Prudent and available resources, and then delete in time for the 2022 election.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then I withdraw my second.
Okay, so is this your entire thing, or is
Delete.
this your motion?
That is my motion.
This is Mr. Glasgow.
Do we have a second for this?
I
Still
do.
have a
Second.
All right.
I would like to speak for.
Okay, Mr. Glasgow will be speaking to this.
The biggest reason for this change, and specifically the reason that Scott's going to object to for striking the 2022 election, is I don't know what's going to happen between now and the 2022 election. I'm not a fortune teller. Nobody here is. I don't know if the whole fucking party's going to implode or we're going to have a country by then. So I'm not going to put a deadline on something that I don't know is going to happen. And it's we're trying to set goals for the executive committee, as is the job of the central committee, but we also need to be realistic in our goals. And I get that they need to be achievable and they're supposed to have a timeline, but setting it at a 2022 election, it's January 9th, 2021, and we have, at this point, less than 18 months to collect roughly 90,000 signatures. That's the point I'm trying to make, is like, I work my ass off for this party, but I don't know if we can pull that one off. So that's the only point I'm trying to make with striking 2022. Somebody wants to amend my motion to change the date, that's fine. But this is what I'm doing. We're supposed to provide direction, not say that this is the way we're telling the executive committee this is what you should be doing, not saying you have to do it this way. That's our job.
Okay. Fair.
Ms. Jilson.
I just want to echo what Patrick is saying. When we did this the last time, we had a significant amount of money from national, which we won't have this time.
Correct.
And there was no pandemic in which to petition, which is an issue.
Correct.
Whether it's a professional petitioner or our volunteers, they're going to struggle to do the amount that we have to do in the time we have to do it.
Correct.
Mr. Nana.
Yeah, I'm going to offer an amendment to the amendment. You can tell me whether or not you want to rule this in order. So I would like to move to amend it to say, and be it further resolved that the Central Committee directs the party's executive committee to devote the available resources and effort to successfully submitting a valid and sufficient party formation petition when prudent.
I can be okay with that.
So your amendment is to add when prudent to the end of the last section.
And to move, yeah, moving prudent from where it's at to the end.
Okay.
I'm trying to come up with a better compromise.
Pettigrew seconds.
Do you accept that as a friendly?
I would actually accept that as a friendly amendment. Would the seconder?
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay with that?
Technically, the up and up.
Keeps us from going 3 motions deep.
Absolutely, I don't wanna go 3 motions deep, this is a small enough group, we can.
Yeah, no objection here.
Okay.
Dustin, do you have a problem with that?
Not at all.
Okay. Alright,
So this would be
put this
the,
up, that the central committee directs the party's executive committee to devote the available resources and effort to successfully submitting a valid and sufficient party formation petition when prudent, period.
Grammatically, it should probably say submit instead of submitting now, but other than that.
that's, yeah, it's clerical. I'll update that.
I think the room sounds happy. I'm gonna call the question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Question's been called,
We just voted on
second,
it.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 All in favor of calling the question, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed to calling the question, nay? Question's been called.
On the amendment.
The amendment. This is the amendment by Pettigrew et al. No, this is the amendment by Glasgow et al.
Yes.
Glasgow, Nana, and whoever all. Yes.
I move to suspend debate and call the question.
We're,
It's already end debate.
Ms. Holloway, can you please mute your microphone? You've got a lot of background noise.
Okay.
Thank you. Would you like a roll call?
somebody's on the road. Yes, I would like a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Pettigrew.
Is this the vote to amend the?
Vote on the amendment.
Aye.
Mr. Pettigrew.
Aye.
Ms. Sprinkle.
Aye.
Ms. Holloway. Give her a second to unmute. Christina. Come back. I'm gonna pass. Mr. Kissick.
Present.
I will vote yes. Mr. Steinmetz.
Yes.
Ms. Gilson.
Yes.
Mr. Barber.
Aye.
Mr. Strelo.
Yes.
Mr. Zwieber.
Yes.
Ms. Comstock.
Aye.
Mr. Nana.
Aye.
Mr. Fricky.
Nay. Nay.
Mr. Rockwell.
Nay.
Mr. Lloyd.
Present.
Ms. Flower.
Yes.
Mr. Gill.
Yes.
Mr. Sonnenschein.
Yes.
Christina Holloway.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chair Sprinkle. I have 14 yes, 2 no, 2 abstention.
The motion
Excuse me,
to amend.
15 yes, 2 no, 2 abstention.
The motion to amend has passed. We now move.
I move to call the question. I'm voting for the
We are
resolution.
now. We have moved to call the question on the original motion. All in favor? Do we have a second for the calling the question?
Second.
All in favor of calling the question, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
We are now going to go to a vote on the motion, the original Pettigrew motion regarding petitioning and everything,
As amended.
as amended. Pettigrew motion as amended. Ready for the roll call
Yes,
vote?
ma'am.
Carry forward, go forward, yes.
Miss Pettigrew.
Aye.
Mr. Pettigrew.
Aye.
Ms. Sprinkle.
Aye.
Ms. Holloway.
Aye.
Mr. Kissick.
Present.
I will vote yes. Mr. Steinmetz.
Aye.
Ms. Gilson.
Aye.
Mr. Barber.
Aye.
Mr. Streetlow.
Aye.
Mr. Zweber.
Yes.
Ms. Comstock.
Aye.
Mr. Nana.
Aye.
Mr. Fricky. Mr. Rockwell.
Aye.
Mr. Lloyd.
Aye.
Ms. Flower.
Aye.
Mr. Gill.
Aye.
Mr. Sonnenschein.
Aye.
Chair Sprinkle, I have 18 yes, 0 no, 1 abstention.
Thank you very much. Is there any other new business? No. We're moving to the election of the executive committee.
I move for a 15-minute recess for biology breaks.
I agree that we should take 15 minutes for a little break. We will resume at 12:15, if that's okay?
Yes.
Okay, we'll stand at ease.
Second.
Mr. Moeller, are you trying to put the baby to sleep by bringing her to a CENTCOM meeting?
Oh, yeah. Here.
I barely heard you. What was that?
No, my
Are
favorite
you
thing that's
bringing? Are you
happening
trying to put the
is
baby to sleep by bringing her to a CENTCOM meeting?
No joke. That's legit what I'm trying to do. She won't take a
my
nap for her
favorite thing
mom,
that
so
came
I
out of
figured
it
there's
is
nothing more
the
boring than this.
Libertarian in DC set up a concession stand.
Well, the question was. So
Just listen to these people for a couple minutes. You'll be fast asleep.
Oh man, that means I have to use my quiet voice.
Now, the louder the better.
Perfunctory reminder to everyone that we are halfway through the break. We are still live on YouTube and recording here. Otherwise, we'll be back at 12:15. 12:15.
It is 12:15, everyone. I'm gaveling us back into session. All right. Next item on the agenda is elections of the executive committee. We will now open the nominations for.
The nominations are closed.
The nominations are closed?
1 week prior.
Or 1 week prior. Oh, sorry. Please, Patrick, will you read me the nominations as they stand?
First round, correct?
Currently, for chair, the only nomination is Jim Cavoli.
Point of information, we have one nominee per officer spot, correct?
Correct.
And
Noda.
And Noda, but,
Noda is always an option.
given that that's the case, would it be appropriate at this time to move to elect as a slate?
No,
No.
slate voting is specifically not allowed.
Strictly prohibited.
Okay.
Okay. And who is the nominee for vice chair?
Myself.
And secretary?
Miss Flower.
And treasurer?
John Moeller.
Do we have at large?
Those nominations aren't required 7 days prior.
Okay.
We can open nominations when you get to that point.
All right. Do we feel that it would be prudent to have 2-minute speeches from each of the candidates?
I would second.
Since there's only one, I would rather we didn't.
Well, there's still Noda.
There's still Noda.
There is
And we
Noda.
know one person will always speak to
Can we
Noda.
just questions, maybe?
I'll only do it once.
Questions.
Okay. Let's open the floor to questions of the candidates. Would anyone like to be heard?
For chair.
For chair.
For chair.
Madam President.
Go ahead, Mr. Pettigrew.
So this is for questions, not endorsements, nominations, anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Cavoli, I'd like to start by thanking you so much for the hard work you've put in during the past few years. You have been an exemplary addition to the party. Just want to know what your plans are as far as ballot access, if any, at this point. What options do you see available to us right now?
Yeah, with respect to ballot access, I do believe that the first best play is definitely that petition. I'm pleased to see the motion passed by this body earlier to the same effect. I will echo a lot of the concerns expressed by members of the committee regarding timing and resources, and I think that'll certainly be a delicate balance to figure out. Hopefully, it is my intent that by having a cooperative effort across many local organizations in our counties, as well as some coordination from the state in supervising that effort, that we could begin that immediately and start the work to complete that petition. That is our surest option. Any others would, of course, be entertained as time goes on and dealt with, but that is got to be a top priority. I do have my doubts as to whether prudence would say file by 22. The main concern there will be about the following qualifications, because the votes in the gubernatorial and presidential races will determine that. It's my personal belief that it may be most strategically advantageous for us to finish on a gubernatorial year, since we have historically done better there than presidential years. But that it would certainly be something in particular for the entirety of the XCOM to decide.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Mr. Cavoli.
Go ahead, Mr. Kissick.
Do you have an action plan in place to get a finance director and thus an actual structure finally for fundraising? Because let's be honest, without a more robust revenue stream, we're effed on all fronts.
I do agree. We have, frankly, money can't buy everything, but it does buy offices and ads and pay for staff and a whole host of other things. So between that as well as trying to support campaigns directly, I agree we have a lot of ways to go in expanding our fundraising efforts. If you are asking if I have a particular name in mind for that position, I do not at present. However, that would be a top priority spot to fill.
I mean, do you have candidates in mind, at least?
Yes.
Yes, we have several people I think that I would be reaching out to immediately. Getting that role filled is very important. I think also one important clarification as far as the role of the finance division that might be non-obvious, in my opinion, is that the finance division might be better understood as a business development division, supervising the activities of all of our various kind of income streams and developing new ones, and expanding things like what we have on offer in the shop, or finding other kind of economic incentives or profit sharing arrangements, things that we could do for fundraisers and events with members. The membership program falls into that category. It's one of our only main drivers of revenue presently, but really shouldn't be, right? We should be depending on a lot of other sources than just the goodwill of our members to float the party, even though that will always, I think, be one of the main ones. So that's kind of my specific intent there, what I'd look for in someone to fill that role, and that would be the top priority as far as director jobs that we don't already have a good candidate for, I think.
Ms. Jilson?
I've had my hand up. I'm sorry to jump in, but I can't. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I've had my hand up since before even the last speaker. So I would really like to speak.
Sorry,
in
Mr.
order.
Nana. We didn't.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I have two questions. I'm looking for a one-word answer, yes or no to both. Do you plan on retaining the IT director role as chair? Second question, if the answer to that question is no, do you have somebody to replace you within the next 2 weeks?
Those answers are no and yes, respectively.
Cool.
And then Mr. Pettigrew has his hand up as well.
Mr. Pettigrew.
If there was someone else who is seeking recognition, I will wait. I have already had a question.
There's not.
All right.
Help. Okay.
Mr. Cavoli, just given the extraordinary events that have transpired in our country during the past week, we may see an influx of politically homeless voters within the state of Ohio looking for a political home, looking for change. First of all, do you commit yourself to a big tent philosophy welcoming these people in? And then what is your, what are your views on how to best maybe assimilate them and educate them on what libertarianism is, rather than just telling them that, as happens so often, not with you, but within our party, that you're not libertarian, get out. How do we welcome these people?
Yes. I mean, in general, I am very much a fan of a bigger tent position for the party. I will say that the party, I think, necessarily must sit somewhat more center than many of its members, as a lot of parties do. In all practical terms, as extreme as any one of our individual beliefs may be, the reality of the matter is that we have to stand somewhat more center in order to appeal to anyone else. And that's sort of the nature of the beast. As to anyone coming into the party or looking to join the party, I think that first off, the answer that we have and that all of our members ought do well to bear in mind when dealing with questions and encountering people who may have an interest in the Libertarian Party is that we have a very, very simple statement as far as what it takes to be a member of this party, period. You oppose the initiation of force to achieve those ends, as we all reaffirmed earlier. And beyond that point, what I would say to people coming in looking to know what is libertarianism about, in a single sentence, right? It's the codified idea that you can make the best decision for yourself. And past that, we could get into any particular issue, but the individual focus and the idea that as much as no one should tell you how to live your life, that we shouldn't be telling each other how to live our lives beyond a very limited set of basic rules you know, you don't hurt people and you don't take their stuff, then we can all get along and let adults be adults. I think that's a simple position that a lot of people are hungry to see reflected in public policy today.
Thank you.
As Mr. Pettigrew had pointed out, there are a number of pathways for us to regain our ballot access, and one of them would be seeking relief because of COVID. Is that something that you are prepared to work with Mr. Brown and simultaneously to doing a petition drive to find other paths to getting back?
Yes, any sort of injunctive relief to extend our ballot access temporarily in light of the extreme circumstances that we have dealt with this year, I think should absolutely be explored as well. It is, in my opinion, never a good idea to put too many eggs in the basket of the whims of the courts. However, I think we should have a look at that and see if there's anything we can explore, and certainly along the way in our petitioning to see if, as far as accelerating our timing to, if given the difficult environment, if we don't see a good timeline to relief there, if we can get those requirements adjusted as well in light of the kind of unusual situation the world is in. Both should be explored, I think, in that order.
Mr. Strelo.
Mr. Cooley, provided we do either receive relief and keep our ballot access, or we somehow manage to be successful in a petition drive to be on the ballot in 2022, do you have any people in mind to tap as potential gubernatorial candidates that could actually gain us success to retain said access?
I would say that if you're asking if I have any kind of personal preference there, not specifically, but I know we have had many decent and qualified candidates express their interest in potentially taking on that race. And I would look forward to reviewing all of those and hearing out anyone who has a serious interest in running.
Any hands raised?
Not presently.
Are the ballots ready to go?
Whenever you're say.
Okay, does anyone else want to ask Mr. Cavoli a question? Hearing none, I will direct the secretary to send out all the ballots. These will
Madam
be going-
Chair,
Mr. Nana.
just maybe a recommendation that you can either take or not. We do this on the national committee to speed up stuff. We could send the ballot out for the next race while we're asking questions of the candidate, and then folks can vote whenever they feel comfortable.
Absolutely, that is my intention. The ballots are now sent out. Please check in your whatever email you provided to the secretary, and it should be an OPA vote. And if you would like to ask Mr. Glasgow a question, please raise your hand or
While we're voting.
While we're voting. Ms. Gilson.
It's a hard G.
Gilson? Gilson. Sorry, Gilson, sorry.
That's all right.
Put that on the agenda.
I would ask you the same question asked of Jim. Who are you going to replace yourself with?
That's a good. Which role?
Also fair question.
So the big thing is, I've got a couple people in mind. I'm not going to name blast them on a YouTube stream, but the key here, I've got a few people that I've talked to that have expressed interest that I would feel comfortable with. In the meantime, the vice chair serves a very large role working with the directors and filling vacancy for the directors. And until positions are filled, I'll kind of take the lead to help the chair pick any role of that and replace myself as well. We've set up a lot of processes in my term that have automated the job, that have made it a lot more simple. So when stuff gets turned over to us, it gets put into a database, emails automatically get sent for candidate first handshakes, to set up phone calls. That way we can sort through, because I mean, No, the first week of November, we had 45 people say that they want to run for office. After the automated system sent out the first email, I've heard back from 5 of them. So, but it saved me a lot of time because I didn't have to send out 45 emails. And we've made a lot of progress in the past 2 years to automate a lot of the processes and a lot of the divisions so that the director role isn't as big. And I have people that are confident that they can take over from where we've kind of laid some groundwork.
Amen. Yeah. 80 phone calls in one weekend is not fun.
Amen to that.
Anyone else have a question for Mr. Glasgow?
I have a question relating to the current ballot that I have not received in my email yet. Is anybody else having that issue?
I received mine.
Okay, let me look at yours. Hold on, Joe. Joe, I have Joe at joelloyd.com.
Yes.
Okay, let me see if yours bounced.
It's Lloyd with one L.
Did your spam filter grab it?
I don't run a spam filter. I live dangerously.
I'm going to point out that both your email address and the fact that it doesn't have a spam filter might have just been publicized on the internet, so you.
Oh no!
It has that I have one mailbox that is published on many websites, and it is interesting. You can.
Joe, is
Okay.
there? Can I send it? Joe, do you have your LPO email open?
I do have my LPO email open. I also just did receive the OPA vote, so
Okay, cool.
we'll go with that. Maybe it was just delayed somehow.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Anyone else having voting issues or a question for Mr. Glasgow?
Jason Samenklein here. I have received a ballot for chair. I have not received the ballot for vice chair yet. Have those gone out?
Right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I do have a question for Mr. Glasgow.
Okay, Mr. Strelo.
Over these last couple of years with Jim being very helpful to the party and you and him working very closely together as the three of us did during convention, do you feel that you two would be a great leadership team for the next 2 years for the party?
Well, Kristen hasn't given me the room that's the spare room yet, but it will happen soon. I think I talked to Jim more than I talked to my mother at this point.
Fair enough.
If hearing no more questions for Mr. Glasgow, that vote should be sent out. Has it been sent out?
Yes, ma'am.
It has been sent out. We'll now move to the secretary position. Jennifer.
Would you like the results of the chair race?
Oh, do we have results of the chair race? Has everyone voted?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone has voted. What are the results of the chair race?
Nail biter.
Jim Cavoli with 17 votes and Noda with 2.
Excellent. Okay, the vice chair race is now open. We are now opening questions for the secretary position, Jennifer Flower. Who has a question for Ms. Flower?
I do.
Yes.
Mr.
Do you
Kissick.
have shorthand?
You know what? I do not.
Which is why I've never run for any kind of secretary position
Right.
ever.
Who cares? How fast can you type?
Ms. Joseph.
Do you feel that you'll be running for office yourself, and will that conflict with your duty as a secretary?
I currently do not plan on running for office for the next 2 years, so at least for this term, no, I don't see any conflicts.
Anyone online? Mr. Strelo.
Since you were very active during the presidential Joe Jorgensen campaign, would you be while maintaining the secretary position, would you be trying to be as active in our gubernatorial campaign if chosen by that candidate to be part of the team? Would you be able to do both positions, or would you decline and take a lesser role while you're maintaining your secretary position at a higher rate?
I definitely want to be very involved in the gubernatorial campaign. I don't necessarily see myself as being like senior staff, volunteer coordinator, that kind of thing, but more of the helping to train and helping to support the volunteers that do come in, so that we're not, starting from scratch.
Change the order. I almost voted for Noda.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Pettigrew.
I have not had the chance to rise for NODA, but and this is not necessarily. I normally do this during the chair's race, and as that has not been called yet at this point. Again, this is as I say every time. First of all, do I have the chairs? Do I have the floor?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll just make it quick. Just everyone remember that you can you can vote for NODA, and the consequence of that will be a second round of voting, if I understand it correctly, in which case you can nominate anyone you want. It would not leave it open necessarily, but the first round is closed except for those people who got their ballots in 7 days prior. I am not doing this to rise against any candidate. I think all the candidates are great, but I think it's important that we understand the implications of our vote. Thank you.
NODA will never let you down. NODA is very principled, always a good candidate, always on the ballot. Okay. Anyone else have a question for Ms. Flower? Okay, let's send out that ballot then for Ms. Flower.
It's out.
Done.
It's out. How about treasurer? Is that out as well?
No.
Okay. Okay, secretary's out. Do we have a result for vice chair?
No.
Okay. Let's open for any questions for the treasurer candidate, John Moeller. Anyone? Like, do you have to take off your shoes to count? Ms. Gilson.
I know we're doing questions, but I'll rise as a supporter of John. He was the campaign's treasurer. He did a fabulous job. At any second that I asked him about our finances, he was always right there and took care of all of our filings very religiously. So.
Point of information, were you talking about Kevin Kahn's campaign?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't.
Sorry. Yes. Kevin Kahn's campaign. I would just ask, are you going to continue to be awesome?
I'll do my best. Since you asked, I'll give the one disclosure that I think is probably important, that I'm not an accountant. So I think that's probably important to disclose to this role. I have experience being a treasurer for local, state, and federal campaigns. I have experience with accounting software, managing cash flow and payroll and all that, but I'm not an accountant.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Mueller?
Linda is on.
Would it be out of order to ask her opinion?
Go for it.
Actually, my question is for Linda Comstock.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked? And then Linda, how do you feel about passing the baton to him?
No, we haven't talked because I didn't know until just a couple days ago that he was running. But I am definitely ready to pass on the treasurer's torch to a new and very capable person. That's John. And we will, I'm sure, be in contact a lot.
And thank you
Yeah,
for
I
your
appreciate
service.
the availability.
I'm sorry, John, what'd you say?
I just said I appreciate your availability, especially over the next 2 weeks as we transition here, hopefully.
Right, and I'm looking at this opportunity for us to formalize our transition, which it's not ever been done, and put that in our standard operating procedures. But yeah, and
Linda. Thank you so much.
sure.
You mean we don't have to storm the office to keep Linda as president? It's going to be a peaceful transition of power?
Yeah.
You're showing up to the inauguration? All right, good.
I thought this was the inauguration.
I will say the security at the office is a lot better than the White House at the moment.
That is true. That is
The Capitol, whatever. Vice Chair, we are waiting on, I can tell you, it's Christina Holloway and Jay Steinmetz.
Okay, everybody check your mail. Make sure you're getting your ballots in. We're still waiting on a couple for vice chair, so.
And secretary.
And secretary and treasurer is now live as well, so make sure you're getting all of those. I'd like to finish up those just to make sure we've got our offices, which I'm sure we do, but we can start opening nominations for for the at-large. There's 3 at-large positions.
And just comment that this might be the quickest XCOM election we've had since I've been a member of the party.
Yep.
I've never seen 4 unopposed.
I do believe this has gone faster than the interim 2-seat filling that we did a few months prior. As well.
Actually, yes, it did.
Madam Chair, I would like to nominate Derek Strelo for at-large executive committee.
Excellent. Mr. Strelo, do you accept?
I do.
Wonderful.
Madam Chair, I would like to nominate Helen Gilson and Dustin Nana.
We are nominating Helen Gilson. Miss Gilson, do you accept?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Nom, accept the nomination for at-large.
Yeah, I accept.
Just as a note, we'll be using Election Buddy and not OPA vote for the elections for at-large. Do we have any additional nominations for at-large representative?
I nominate Scott Pettigrew.
Mr. Pettigrew, do you accept?
With respect, no, I will decline. Thank you very much.
Do we know if Dan would consider it?
Dan Faust?
No.
He can't because he's about to be ineligible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other nominees?
I nominate Nate Rockwell.
Mr. Rockwell, do you accept?
With respect, I do not, and it's more a time conflict. I work every Saturday. I wish I could.
Understood.
I would like to nominate Dr. Fricky.
Dr. Fricky, do you accept?
Yes.
It looked like he tried to talk, but he wasn't.
Dr. Fricky, I can't hear you. Did you accept the nomination?
With respect, I do not accept.
Understood.
I'd like to nominate Chris Gill.
Chris Gill has been nominated. Do you accept the nomination?
If elected, I will serve.
Such enthusiasm.
If anyone would like to beat me to the job, I would not be offended.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
As a order of
Whatever.
it's
Secretary
That's a something.
That's a thing.
I would like to make a motion to opt for plurality voting for at-large elections.
So that's is that a
It's not. It's part of our bylaws.
Okay, so to exercise the option.
Yes.
So is that a
I'm making
motion?
a motion to exercise the option to use plurality voting for the at-large election.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made to use plurality voting, and it's been seconded.
For at-large.
For at-large, yes. This just
Madam
means that, yes. Let me
I
explain
believe-
it if you.
Thank you.
Okay. This will mean that the 3 top vote getters are going to win.
Saves us ranked choice voting.
And it saves us from going into, from ranked choice where you say this is number 1, number 2, number 3. We're just going to give everyone, you vote, and whoever has the most is going to win. And that would include NODA. Always a good choice, NODA.
Query?
So that is the motion that's on the floor now.
Question?
I think, go ahead.
How many votes do we get?
3.
One per position, correct?
1 per position. So there are 3 at-large seats. So you can
Thank
vote
you.
for up to 3.
Dustin.
Dustin, Mr. Nana.
I think my question's been answered already by you guys just now.
Okay, that is the motion on the floor to do plurality voting. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
No.
Say nay.
Nay.
No.
I think the ayes have it, we're gonna do plurality voting. Thank you very much, that makes things easier for us. How are we doing on our votes for our officers?
Oh, let me go back to that.
Well, we would wait for that. Can we do?
Yeah, unless he had it quickly, I didn't know. Okay, if you have questions for your at-large candidates, start thinking of them.
Have we closed nominations?
Did you close nominations?
I did not close nominations, no.
I move to close nominations then.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 You ready for
Anyone opposed, nay? Thank you. Do we have results?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for the vice chair?
That is 15? Okay. 15 for Patrick Glasgow, and Nota is 4.
Okay, that's wonderful. Congratulations. For secretary?
Pulling it up now. For secretary, Jen Flowers 16, Noda 3.
Wonderful, and congratulations. Treasurer?
John Mueller 18, Noda 1.
Wonderful. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you for your service. Okay, we have closed the nominations for at-large. Anyone with questions for at-large candidates, please, let's go now. Ms. Gilson.
Speaking for myself, I absolutely will be happy to serve, but I encourage you to consider the other 3 candidates would give us the first ever 100% millennial XCOM.
That's ain't bad.
And I you don't consider.
I'm an extra. I was born in '74.
We'll give you an honorary, closer than I am. You're 10 years closer than me.
Okay.
So, absolutely, I think that all of the candidates are awesome, and I'm happy to stay and grow Butler County, if that's what happens. But again, if you chose me, I would absolutely be happy to serve, but I encourage you to vote for the other candidates.
Do you feel bad for taking Chris's speech?
I have a question. And this is, taking the spirit, can you prove that you're a real libertarian?
Am I being detained?
I don't violate the net.
If elected, yes, you
Just
are.
intellectual.
Okay, anyone else online on the WebEx have questions for our at-large people? All right. You've been working hard, Patrick. Do you have ballots ready?
Need a couple more minutes.
Couple more minutes, okay.
That's what you get for changing the voting method, Patrick.
Yeah.
Too many tabs open.
I always have 2,000 email LPO one. I mean,
Just means you're not checking it though.
that's true too.
I'm down to just 5 email boxes in my Outlook, and the other ones are on my phone. What is that?
Some viewers over time for this meeting.
Regulatory
How many
requirements for
was that?
conducting analysis.
Currently.
Okay.
You get to see
Need to validate my voter list.
Watch some more after that.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Pettigrew.
it's been at least in national meetings, it's been the custom that some resolutions and motions can be made as votes are tallied. Would you entertain a motion right now?
Balance out.
Sure, and the ballots are out now, so you can get to doing that. Go ahead.
Okay, I would like to, I move the following resolution. The Libertarian Party of Ohio condemns the violence that occurred at our nation's capital this past week. We are a party founded upon the belief that the initiation of violence is unwarranted for the attainment of political gains. We welcome those who find themselves at odds with the actions of their party in recent days and will continue our efforts to elect principled, libertarian candidates to the ballot in Ohio and nationwide.
Scott, can you please send that to me?
I will paste it into the chat.
Thank you, sir.
I won't paste it into the chat. Well, you'll have to give me a sec. I'm working on 2 different computer systems, so I have to get it in the right place. I'll give us something to argue about while we tally.
I'm trying to decide who to vote for. Jesus.
It is in the chat.
Thank you, sir.
In general, do we feel we need to discuss this, or can we just?
Chat.
Oh, for chat.
Got
Okay.
Would you accept striking to the ballot? It just seems redundant to say we're going to elect candidates and also say elect them to the. I don't know.
I have no problem with that change. That's a
I
good
just think
thing.
it sounds better, but if I mean, I don't. It doesn't matter to me.
Patrick, if Renee's here runs, we're gonna have a good run.
Scott, would you consider it a friendly amendment, Mr. Pettigrew, to add the words, let me get back to you. We welcome those who find themselves at odds with the action of, and then insert certain members of their party. That's assuming that the Republican Party itself did not organize said actions.
I understand where you're coming from with that, but I'm not necessarily referring to the violence at the Capitol. I'm talking about the lack of response to it, the enablement that's happened, allowing the president to continue to spout what he's been spouted, and even stretching back to the state Republican Party with SB 193 in the state of Ohio. Obviously, I've submitted this. If you want to make that an amendment to it, that's fine. But I wouldn't consider it as a friendly amendment at this point.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did we do a similar resolution earlier in the year for some of the other rioting and other violent acts that occurred in other states, especially out west and even locally?
Avoided it like a hot potato.
I don't recall doing that. No.
No, the
Okay.
passed on either.
Honestly, my opinion would be to condemn both or neither.
I would agree with that. A lot of the chat rooms and stuff that I'm in, we often get a lot of conservatives talking about how the stuff that happened over the summer, like when Antifa took over that section in Seattle and all that stuff, nobody said a word, and now we're blasting the Trump supporters for this. So I would agree that we should probably condemn all of these actions or none at all.
Yeah.
And then pluralize the word parties.
That's what, yeah.
Pluralize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Jay. I think directly calling out what happened in all cases is a symptom of what we get when these two political parties are allowed to control the levers of power in Washington, D.C. Yeah, I think that the overarching issue here is, we have two dysfunctional, corrupt parties that are mired in deals with corporations that allowed this to happen. This is what happened. Everything from the riots this summer to what happened in the Capitol is a symptom of the Democratic and Republican parties being allowed to continue to hold the levers of power in this country.
Hear, hear.
I probably ought to say that. It's
Point
all
of
the
order,
same thing.
Was there a second to the resolution?
I'm not sure that there was. I'm not sure we have the full text yet.
Yeah, I don't think we
So
had text.
that's why we were.
Well, we do have the text, but these would be to it.
I second the motion for the purpose of debate.
Hey, did we get votes? My app crashed super hard, and I had to like force stop it and stuff.
Yeah, where is the vote for the at large, please?
One moment. Secretary is coming to the mic to answer that. Votes for
Oh, there it
at-large.
is.
Sorry, I had to relieve myself because you guys got to when I was doing stuff.
One of the at-large votes are waiting or out.
Out. It's out. I voted.
I'm
They've
still
been out 6 minutes.
2 ballots. Mr. Pettigrew?
Got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I received my ballot. Thank you.
Okay.
Getting the text.
I have 19 submitted. Let me close the election. The election is closed by default. The results are in.
The results are in. Excellent.
Mr. Strelo with 18 votes. Mr. Gill with 16 votes. Mr. Nana with 11 votes. Ms. Gilson with 10 votes. And Noda with 2 votes.
Excellent. Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations. Great job, everyone. Thank you.
Good for you.
Who are the winners? I'm sorry.
That makes Mr. Strelo, Mr. Gill, and Mr. Nana the new 3 at-large representatives on the executive committee. So to answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Just to reiterate what Mr. Gill just said, that makes Miss Gilson the winner.
Aww. That is a mostly millennial XCOM, everyone.
This is the youngest XCOM we've ever run.
With Gen X just hanging on here.
They always do, don't they?
Somebody has to babysit.
It's true, actually.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
point of personal privilege.
Yes.
I just really believe that we have been overdue for a youth movement in the Libertarian Party. And not to sound like, I mean, my Generation X, just for, put that out there, but it just seems like the more we try and cling to
Here.
older, experienced people, we seem to generate more problems, and we fail to respond to the problems that need responding. So this really makes me very happy. Should it be important? No. But I think it's outstanding development, and I cannot thank you all enough for stepping up in these leadership positions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Here, here.
I'm not
Pretty
going
much this
anywhere,
will be the
so.
same time demands that you're all
No
putting
take
yourself
backsies.
under, so you
We
say it better, it's
still
like-
have a resolution on the floor, Mr. Pettigrew's resolution condemning violence. I don't know if, can we get it, it's up, oh, I just can't see it, okay, that's fine. Has it been amended friendly and the way we want it to read for a vote?
Well, it wasn't amended friendly. It hasn't been changed at all.
Hasn't been changed at all. That's my original text.
That is the original text, okay. There was discussion of perhaps should it reflect.
Moving the words to the ballot were friendly.
Okay, so it was this.
Yep.
Second, if it hasn't already.
Up here when I count.
Yes, please. Just anywhere on the page is fine.
Okay, is there further discussion?
I move to amend.
I second.
How so?
Go ahead, you're recognized.
Okay. The amendment would be, the Libertarian Party of Ohio condemns the violence that occurred at our nation's capital this past week and in our country this past year. The next change in the second sentence would be, we are a party founded upon the belief that the initiation of violence is unwarranted for the attainment of political or social gains.
Or what?
And
Or social gains.
yes. And then the final amendment would be to change party to parties, plural.
That's nice.
I will second that.
That's nice.
So you'll consider that a friendly amendment?
I would.
Okay, cool.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Okay, so that's just done.
That's a friendly amendment.
Great, lovely.
Can I ask for a friendly amendment to add a statement at the beginning that states that we stand in solidarity with the National Libertarian Party in already having proclaimed this? So it would be something to the effect of the Libertarian Party of Ohio stands in solidarity with the National Libertarian Party
To condemn.
to.
That feels pretty friendly.
Is that accepted as friendly?
So does that
Okay,
mean
Brittany.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So putting that clause in the front kind of means the rest of the words have to match. Because the National Libertarian Party said whatever the National Libertarian Party said. And now we have text. And you know, if we're in solidarity, we have the same words. Otherwise, we are presuming to speak for them with the words we have at the bottom. So having this already been a friendly amendment, I may have to vote against the main resolution. Thank you.
Understood. Ms. Gilson.
Instead of saying solidarity, can we say similarly or something to that effect so that,
Let me offer you language here.
yeah, please help me.
Four sets, the first page I have my first round palettes.
Does that work for you?
I'll take your time.
That's as close as you're gonna get, I think.
Use my text page.
The Libertarian
It
Party of
works for
Ohio
me,
standing for
but,
libertarian principles with the Libertarian Party and its other affiliates nationally. But it reads awkward to me, but
How we did it with a caucus.
I don't find it important to say that we're libertarians like libertarians, but obviously others do find it important to say that libertarians are libertarians.
So the reason behind the thought of this is because the national chair has taken a lot of heat for making this statement against Mises Classic.
And I believe it stands by itself that the Libertarian Party of Ohio has a statement.
yeah.
And if the Libertarian Party has a statement that is similar or the same or somewhat different than the National Party chair, well, folks can resolve that.
Okay, I'm good. I withdraw.
Okay.
Can I make one more addition? A couple words?
Trisha.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Where it says, we welcome those who find themselves at odds with the actions of their parties in recent days. I'd like to add the words and months.
That's fine. Yeah, I agree.
In lifetimes.
We just strike in recent.
How about in recent times?
How about just
Why don't
striking
you
in
just say
recent times with
recently?
the actions of their parties?
This thing's gonna. I'm sorry to jump in. This thing's gonna be a 10 paragraphs. How about we just say recently?
Oh, we
That
just
covers
we just
months
trimmed
and-
it. I like where it is now.
I do too.
Yeah, actually, I like that better too. Never mind.
Resolution that's just
Point of inquiry.
I would sign that.
Steinmetz.
Steinmetz,
Yes.
what's up?
I'm sorry.
Your hands up.
Your hands up?
Oh no, it is.
Whoops.
Okay. I must have clicked something inadvertently. No, sorry.
Okay, well, good seeing you. All right. Can we take a vote on this, please?
I would like to hear it read in entirety.
Some people are on the phone, so if we could read it in the entirety.
Secretary, you want to read that down?
Can you
Yes,
read it? Because
I can.
I will have to turn the wrong way.
Be it resolved, the Libertarian Party of Ohio condemns the violence that occurred at our nation's capital this past week and in our country this past year. We are a party founded upon the beliefs that the initiation of violence is unwarranted for the attainment of political or social gains. We welcome those who find themselves at odds with the action of their parties and will continue our efforts to elect principled libertarian candidates in Ohio and nationwide.
Yep.
Good wordsmithing, guys.
That was teamwork. I like that. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
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 Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay, the resolution passes. Thank you very much.
I was perfectly okay with those investments this week.
The next item on the agenda is to set the date and time for the next CENTCOM meeting. I have
Madam Chair, the
yes.
next item is the election to fill vacant committee seats,
Yes,
but I feel like we're
oh,
still going to
yes.
bypass that.
We have I've completely forgotten that, and I have a little star there even.
Bigger star.
The election to fill vacant Central Committee seats for District 8, District 10, and District 13.
Chairman Sprankle, with the fact that none of these people bothered to sign in today, and I checked my email, they haven't contacted me today either, I make a motion to bypass this agenda item.
Shall we table this until the next meeting?
Yes, I would make a motion to table.
Yeah.
Till the next
Second.
meeting.
We are seconded. All in favor of tabling that section of the agenda, indicate by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed, say nay.
Madam Chair,
Yeah, Mr. Strela.
might I request that the secretary does reach out, once again, letting them know that if they do not attend the next meeting without some sort of notice that their nomination will be dropped from the next agenda?
Yeah, we'll give him a call.
Maybe. Maybe draft.
Okay, now next meeting. I had a couple suggestions, May 22nd or June 8th. Does anyone feel we need to meet sooner or later?
I like May 22nd.
The options were
May 22nd or June 8th. I would say May 22nd. We're starting because when you get into June, you're starting to get into
Vacation.
county fair time too.
Yeah, like they're gonna let us do that.
Did you mean to say June 8th? Because that's a Tuesday. Sorry to interrupt.
Is it?
June 8th.
You mean the
Tuesday,
5th?
you're looking at the 5th.
Oh, I meant okay.
You mean the 5th or later?
I meant the first Saturday of June.
That's the 5th.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's just.
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I liked the end of May because it prevents us from getting into vacation time. It's not Mother's Day.
Right.
It's
Well,
not.
you're saying the 22nd?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also right the week before Memorial Day.
Right.
Yeah.
That works.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to set the date and time for the next meeting to May 22nd, 2021 at 10:30 a.m.
You motion to adjourn to that specific date and time.
Yes, ma'am.
Second, all in favor of that?
Aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, say nay. We are adjourned until.
Yeah, we are.
Well, I still wasn't a motion to adjourn.
Yes, it was. You made a
Motion to adjourn to a specific date. Always appropriate. May 22nd. Yes? Yes. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Congratulations to all the new XCOM members. I really appreciate your service. Outgoing XCOM members.